A dream shattered. Emily and Matthew were full of joy, driving to the hospital under a Seattle sunrise. Their son, Noah, beamed with excitement about meeting his little brother. The hospital room was filled with anticipation, smiles, and love. But everything changed within moments. Emily's labor took a sudden turn. The monitors beeped wildly, and the nurses' smiles faded. Dr. Avery, usually calm, grew tense. When the baby was delivered, the room went silent, no cries, just a lifeless form. "I'm sorry," Dr. Avery whispered. "He didn't make it." The words shattered their world. Emily broke down in uncontrollable sobs. Matthew stood still, tears streaming, trying to process the loss. Noah, waiting outside with a teddy bear, kept asking, "Is baby Caleb here yet?" He didn't know that dreams had just been crushed inside that room. The silent room. Emily lay still in her hospital bed, refusing to let go of Caleb's body. Wrapped in a soft blue blanket, the baby looked like he was just sleeping. Nurses gently offered to take him, but Emily clutched him tighter. "He's warm. Maybe he'll wake up," she whispered. Matthew tried to hold her hand, his own heart breaking. Noah entered quietly, sensing the sadness. He looked at the tiny baby, confused but tender. "Can I hold him, Mommy?" Emily nodded. Noah sat beside her, gently cradling Caleb. "Hi, baby brother. I love you," he whispered. "Come back, okay?" He kissed Caleb's forehead. The room was silent, except for quiet sniffles. Emily felt numb. Matthew turned away to hide his tears. They were a family mourning what they believed they had lost forever. The cry just as Noah leaned closer to say a final goodbye, a faint sound pierced the room. A tiny, breathy cry. At first, everyone thought it was imagination. But then it came again, louder this time. Emily gasped. "Did you hear that?" she cried. Caleb's tiny hand twitched. Matthew shouted for help. Nurses rushed in. Dr. Avery returned and was stunned. "He's alive," she whispered in disbelief. "We need NICU, now." The room turned into a whirlwind. Emily sobbed as Caleb was taken from her arms, alive but fragile. Noah looked up at her and smiled. "I told you he'd come back." That single cry had turned mourning into hope, a miracle in real time. The NICU battle begins. Inside the NICU, Caleb lay in a tiny incubator, wires and tubes surrounding his body. Emily stood at the glass, her hands pressed to the pane, praying for a second miracle. Matthew joined her, silent, worried, but trying to be strong. "He's fighting," Emily whispered. "He wants to be here." Nurses worked gently, adjusting monitors, checking vitals. Noah drew pictures and taped them to the incubator. One read, "You're my best friend, Caleb." The staff, touched by Noah's innocence, called him the Big Brother hero. Emily didn't sleep. She sat by Caleb every night, whispering stories and lullabies. But fear lingered. The doctors couldn't say if Caleb would make it. Every beep of the monitor felt like thunder in her heart. Still, hope flickered. The negative force, Dr. Benson. Dr. Benson entered the NICU with an icy air. The head of OB, he was known for his strict protocols and lack of empathy. He reviewed Caleb's chart and scoffed. This baby was stillborn. He shouldn't be alive. Emily froze. "He is alive," he cried. "We heard him." Benson didn't budge. "A fluke. He'll never make it. You need to be realistic." Matthew stepped in, angry. "That's our son you're talking about." Dr. Avery tried to mediate, but Dr. Benson's presence cast a shadow. He refused to take responsibility for the premature death call and subtly blamed the nurses. Emily's heart sank. Caleb's fight was hard enough, now they had to fight the system too. The whisper of a cry late one night, Caleb's vitals dipped dangerously. The nurse called for Dr. Avery. Emily rushed in. The heart monitor was erratic. Suddenly, Noah's voice echoed through the glass. He was singing a lullaby. Caleb's heartbeat began to stabilize. Everyone stood stunned. Emily asked the nurse to bring Noah closer. "Keep singing, baby," she urged. Noah sang, soft and sweet. Caleb calmed further. Dr. Avery whispered, "He knows his brother's voice." Emily clutched Matthew. "He's holding on for us." The bond between the brothers had become Caleb's anchor. Against all odds, love was pulling him back. The waiting game, the days dragged on. Caleb's condition stayed critical. Emily stopped sleeping. Matthew made coffee runs and held her when she broke down. Dr. Benson returned, pushing them to sign a DNR form. "He's suffering," he said coldly. Emily refused. "He fought to come back. I won't give up." Dr. Avery supported her. The board held a meeting. Emily stood her ground. "He cried. He breathed. He lives. You don't get to decide when hope ends." Her voice echoed through the hospital. Dr. Benson left in frustration, his pride bruised. But the fight had only just begun. The turning point one night, Caleb coded again. Alarms blared. Emily was dragged out of the NICU. She fell to her knees, sobbing. Matthew held her close. Inside, nurses worked tirelessly. Minutes passed. Then a miracle, Caleb stabilized. Dr. Avery stepped out, exhausted but smiling. "He's still with us." Emily cried in relief. That night, she knelt in the chapel. "Please, let him stay." She hadn't prayed in years. But that night, she believed. Caleb had become more than a baby. He was a fighter, and the whole hospital was beginning to believe in him. Approached Matthew privately. Her hands trembled. Dr. Benson declared the baby dead too soon. He rushed it. Said there was no point trying. Matthew recorded her statement. They took it to the board. An investigation began. Dr. Benson grew angry, calling it slander. But more nurses spoke up. He had a history of negligence. Emily, with renewed strength, spoke to a reporter anonymously. The media got involved. The hospital's image was at risk. Dr. Benson's days of unchecked power were numbered. Banned Emily from the NICU, calling her emotionally unstable. Emily didn't break, she fought back. She sat outside the NICU, holding Caleb's photo, refusing to leave. Other mothers joined her. A peaceful protest began. The story went viral. News crews came. "Mother denied baby," the headlines read. Public outrage grew. The board held a meeting. Dr. Avery testified. Emily's ban was lifted. Dr. Benson was suspended pending investigation. Emily returned to Caleb's side, victorious and stronger than ever. Caleb opened his eyes for the first time. Emily was there. She gasped and called Matthew. Noah climbed on the bed. Caleb blinked at him. "Hi, baby brother," Noah whispered. Caleb smiled faintly. The entire NICU staff celebrated. Dr. Avery hugged Emily. "You did it, Mama." The machines were removed. Emily held Caleb skin to skin. It was the moment she dreamed of, warm, alive, and real. They cried together. A miracle, finally complete. Homecoming and healing. Caleb came home to balloons, family, and sunshine. Noah had made a welcome sign. Matthew grilled in the backyard. Emily rocked Caleb on the porch, telling him the story of his first cry. She had turned her pain into power, writing a book titled The Cry That Changed Everything. Dr. Benson was dismissed and the hospital issued a public apology. At night, Noah read a bedtime story to Caleb. Once upon a time, a brother's love brought his baby brother back to life.